So what does that mean, being in Mark's content?
So essentially, like, because coming from my standpoint, I never want to be the guy to, like, sit here and have it be like, oh, I work for an influencer, I work for whoever the case is, like, I work for a celebrity, and I never want it to come off as, like, oh, I'm here because I want to get my face out, and, like, I'm here, and, like, because that's such a bad look, and, like, that's really not the case. Like, I'm just here because I think it's cool as fuck and want to help everybody out, but it's weird to say if the celebrity you're working for is like, yo, do you want to be in our videos and, like be featured and stuff like that? I always have a weird time of saying, like, hell yeah, I really want to. So we've had that conversation multiple times, but I never knew if he was serious, and I was always, like, relatively uncomfortable with, like, the question, because I never want to come off as that, like, and that's why I always joked with them. I was like, that's why I come in here at night or on weekends. I don't, like, mention you guys. I don't, like, nothing like that. Like,
Completely separate.
100%.
Yeah.
But today changed it all, where he's like, so I guess the one thing that he doesn't like is I'm very opinionated in terms of if I don't like someone, I don't want you to say the wrong thing and people know that you work here. Because you're still in,
like, affiliation with everything.
Which I 100% respect. Yeah. So I'm just like, okay, I 100% get that.
This is turning into, like, a bar stool. Like, all the different employees are doing, like, their own shit, their own podcast.
I'm going to have to clip that, because that's what we want. Like, that's what, in a way, like, we want to be able to, like, emulate. And it's everyone can go off of, like, what they, because there's certain people who work here that love the atmosphere but do not want to be on camera, which respect the fuck out of. And then there's certain people who, like, do, but it always takes that first person to get it going. And there's so many people we work with here that are, like, super fun, and, like, I know they could give a lot of shit, but they just don't want to be the first person to do it.
Okay.
Me personally, I'm like, sign me the fuck up. Let's do it. So really quick on that note, welcome back to episode 18.
Wow.
18. I know, of the Mac and Show. I am joined by one of my favorite people I've met in LA, videographer, fucking connoisseur, like, just so fucking good at everything he's done. Such a fucking great person. And again, like, one of the coolest people I've gotten to meet. And like, you were just the coolest to me. But welcome, Mr. JROD.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
Absolutely. I appreciate you being here.
It's episode 18.
18.
Wow. And it's funny because when you were talking to me at that party about your podcast, I didn't even know you had one.
Yeah.
But then I do see your clips on your story, so I guess it all makes sense.
Yeah, and it's weird for me to be like, oh, episode 18, to think, like, oh, I've sat in here 18 different times, filmed 18 different podcasts, and, like, because everyone I've look up to, they're always like, oh, like, you know, once you get past, like, podcast 20, like, then you're in a good flow and you can keep doing it. So, no, it's weird to say we're at fucking 18, but how are you doing?
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm good. I was driving here on Laurel Canyon, and you know how, like, small it is.
Oh my god!
And a fire truck came through the middle of it. I'm like, what the hell's happening? A car was, like, on fire, like, in front of me, almost, like, smoking. I'm like, oh shit! Can I swear?
Oh, fuck yeah!
You're vaping and shit.
Yeah,
you have
while
at it.
If we weren't in this office, like, that's what I want to be able to. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
At some point, yes.
And I literally just, like, went in front of the car, and now they're probably still there. Everyone behind me. So I got really lucky.
I thought that was completely going to segue. Yeah, they definitely died.
They're
fucking dead.
Yeah, they're dead.
But no, Laurel, like, again, coming from where I grew up in upstate New York, like, we still came from, like, a city, but, like, the mountain fucking roads here are, and Emma has driving anxiety like you cannot imagine. She's going to hate me for this, but she doesn't drive. Okay. Which I can respect. It's scary here. I get it. But if you're already scared of driving, seeing some of these fucking streets here is ridiculous. Like, it brings me back to the first week I got hired here. I was up at their house, which is, like, up that hill, maybe like a quarter mile or something like that. I came from doing content up at the house. I was not flying, but, like, 20 down one of those hills. I was flying. Right. Flying down that hill.
This mic keeps going down.
Oh shit, I feel bad. Do you want me to try to tighten it even more?
It's like a fucking...
We could switch.
I'll just hold it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Well, see, I'm a fucking horrible podcast host, man. God damn it. But, so I'm flying down this hill, and I shit you not, at least maybe a foot in between crashing Mark in his Rolls Royce. This is my first week working here. And it would, because those, like, that street is so fucking narrow. There's cars on both sides. And, like, again, 20 is not flying on any street ever down those streets.
It's fast.
It almost just collided head on. And I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, that would have lost me my job, would have lost me a lot of money.
Your bank account.
Probably would not, like, if we crash in that sense, someone's getting hurt, I would never get hired by anybody else here again. Like, there would be word about, like, okay, this
kid's blacklisted.
This kid's a fucking moron. Do not hire him again. So, no, I can only imagine how scary. Night, Laurel Canyon, car on fire. Someone possibly fucking dead.
Yes. But I'm here and walking in here, and now you're doing a podcast here is fucking awesome.
Well, that makes me feel, and I'm glad that you're here. Like we talked about when you walked in, you've been here once before, and it was only like a quick glimpse because it was before.
I think we came here to what?
Get water, I think, or go to the bathroom.
Something weird. Yeah.
Some shit like that, because there was Josh's birthday at Harriet's, and I think it's because I parked here, and you, me, Katie, and Emma came back, and I think since we were just here, I was like, oh, let me show you guys the office. I don't think I had my keys, so we didn't go inside, so you guys just got to...
Yep, that's exactly
But again, that was in January, February, something like that?
Yep.
So, like,
I think January.
So much of this shit still wasn't here, and, like...
No, this is legit now.
They're adding an entire renovation. Yeah, they're doing a photo shoot for D'Amelio Footwear. Go buy. See, I'm just plugging everything. Go buy your D'Amelio Footwear, man. Just do it. Just because I fucking said so, and you're gonna hurt my fucking feelings if you don't.
I need a pair.
Get a pair
of heels.
If they size 11 and a half. 10 heels. All right, so I think we actually go up to size 10 heels. There's a very good.
Well, that's women's size.
That's true. So that'd be like what, an 8 for us.
Yeah. So I'll fit.
Okay, good.
I'll fit.
And you'll get a little inches on you, but no. So. Just because, and I'm guessing anybody who would watch this likes the shit I like, so they probably know who you were. But, like, tell me, I know, but who is JROD? What does JROD do? What does JROD divulge in?
At this point, I don't even know.
I don't. That's not the worst answer, though.
I started out as a videographer and editor, as you know. I basically dropped out of college and got into the social media field by offering editing services, video, but it wasn't that easy. Obviously, there was a lot of like doing a bunch of free work for like a year, and then just connections. It's really just baby steps, networking to one person, they connect you to another person, and then you end up working with like the top of the top, and you're like, how the hell did I get here? And it's just time flies.
Time fucking flies.
Yeah.
Now. With you specifically, and actually I get to ask you some of the questions I don't think I've asked you before. We've had talks before, but it'll be cool for me. So, again, as a fellow college dropout, solidarity, honestly. So when you dropped out and you came out here, was Bryce the first person you got to work with, or was it something where that was a connection you went from?
Yeah, that was definitely like not the first.
Not the first.
Probably the second or third.
Okay.
Yeah. And the first person I worked with, I don't even want to say.
No, don't. I think I know who, so I won't say.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure I know who. So no.
But yeah, it was just like working with the first guy for a year, staying with him. I lived in his living room on a bunk bed.
That's grind.
And he screwed in like a like curtains around the bunk bed in the living room.
So you lived in like a shower almost.
Yeah, pretty much. But at the time I'm like, this is dope because it was free rent, and I was doing YouTube with him, which was like really cool and like, yeah, on a higher level than I was used to.
Yeah,
because I've been posting YouTube videos since like really grinding since high school.
So that's what I wanted to ask too. Is that like, because we got in a deep talk about because there's people who visited the office today that kind of were asking us about like how like, and I've never gotten asked to me before like, how'd you get started? How were you out here? And me like, I still think I'm fucking white trash from upstate New York. Like, that's just what I am. So when people ask me that question, I'm like, what? Like, I don't know. I fucking DM somebody.
Yeah.
But with you, was videography in, like, this world always a plan for you? Like, say, because obviously you did college for a little bit, but then you dropped out. Was that always a plan, or were you on something like, oh, I'm going to go be, like, an architect, but then you found a passion for this?
No, I've always been in the YouTube space.
That's so
and
cool.
I never really watched TV or movies. It was always YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even in college, I was trying to be a YouTuber myself.
Oh,
and
cool.
Even in high school and even younger, I was looking up to like Ryan Higa and even like iJustine, just doing like Apple product reviews.
I just saw her the other day. She was
really?
speaking at like an Apple panel.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which is crazy, like full circle.
She's still killing it too. But yeah, so I wanted to be a YouTuber, and I was like, what's the easiest way of like really learning and building my name up? And in college, I'm like, okay, let me start emailing and DMing all these big YouTubers. I had like 300 followers. No one saw my stuff. Even if I had really good work, which I did, they didn't see it.
Yep.
Even through email, no one looks at their emails.
No, ever.
And no one looks at their DMs. So I was kind of screwed. So I started working at this like radio station. It's called Power 106.
Shout out Power 106.
Shout out. And yeah, they came to this journalism club that I was in college. They did a little talk. And I was like, this is my big opportunity to talk to this guy and try to get a job. And I was so nervous that I didn't talk to him. And they just left, and I fucked up. And right after that meeting, I was so mad at myself. I'm like, this is unreal. Like, that was my one way out of, I think, in my head, college. Like, that was my one way out. And I fucked up. But luckily enough, a few months later, they came back and did the whole thing. Like, each semester, it's the same exact shit. So you're not supposed to, like, join the club both semesters. I joined again, waiting for that moment for them to come back. And I ended up talking to him. I was like, I'll do this for free. So my first job was like, he told me to come in at like 5 a.m. because it's an early radio show.
Fuck.
And guess who I'm filming with?
Who?
Billie Eilish.
What
and
the
the same day after
like,
Billie Eilish.
one of the biggest women on the planet.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then after that was DJ Snake. And I'm like, first day on the job, what is happening?
And after it wasn't supposed to happen, it comes back and Billie Eilish.
Yeah. And they're like, they didn't even tell me what was happening. Day of, I'm like filming. It's like a small room, smaller than this.
Yeah.
She walks in, and I'm like, oh. And then the host. And I like hugged her and everything. We talked for a bit. I'm like freaking out too. I'm like shaking.
Billie Eilish. I would too.
Yeah.
Shit.
It didn't feel real. But that was my first like really intro to the industry.
Okay.
In a sense.
It's cool how like that shit works out because like, yeah, when I tell people, Mark really loves for like, because I joke with him all the time when like because he watches my podcast and he always jokes with me about it.
Shout out
like,
Mark.
Shout out Mark. And he's gonna get on soon. But he'll always joke with me on like, yo, bro, like you're talking about like celebrities and this and that. Like talk about your story. Like people want to hear that. And I'm like, like I got 400 or 500 people watching tops. Like I don't give a fuck about my story right now. Maybe like at some point they will.
They will.
They will.
The views right now don't matter.
Exactly.
Because a year down the line, they're going to be watching all your old stuff.
And like, I just genuinely like, and I know this sounds so corny because like everyone in a podcast space probably says it. I just fucking love talking to people about anything. So I was like, I would do this shit regardless with like no mics. I'd be like, yo, JROD, like, you trying to come to the office and chill?
Right.
With no mic, like shit like that. Yeah. So I figured let's do it. And like actually start a podcast and shit. So he always wants me to like tell people like how I got out here. And it's just crazy how like one conversation and like stuff can come back to you.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I stopped working with Josh and Bryce and I never told Emma because it was like a lot. Like I didn't want to put it out there yet. I was like 2 weeks away from like, oh, we have like, because I didn't move out to LA to work at like Best Buy or anything. Like, and like I don't mean that in a bad way. If I wanted to work at Best Buy, I would just go home. Yeah. Where it's cheaper. Like I moved out here to do shit. I was like 2 weeks away from having to tell Emma like we got to move home.
Really?
I like had, mind you, like, and shout out Bryce and Josh, love them. I wasn't making dick. Like no, and nor should I have been. Like,
and I remember we had a chat almost the first time we met.
It was at Havenhurst.
Josh's.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah.
Which is like, and again, that wasn't, again, I was doing social media for one of the companies so it wasn't like I had I just wasn't making great money to be out in Los Angeles. And Annie stopped, or at least like put on pause. And it was probably a month or two. And like, I didn't let, Emma knew because she lived with me with people back home now. I didn't let anybody know that like it was getting bad. It was getting bad. Yeah. I was kind of like, no, it's good. Like, and I would still do certain personal stuff for Josh where it's like, you know Brianna, obviously, right? Like, she'd be like, oh, he needs help with, like, we're doing this thing. Or, like, so they would always include me on that stuff, which was cool. But it got to a point where I was like, I got no fucking money. DM Tidy one day. Somehow she DM'd back. And then a week later, I found myself at their house for an interview. And year and a half later, the rest was fucking history.
Wow.
And so,
Now
yeah.
you're here with the podcast
Wait,
in their office.
Who the fuck would have thought that?
Who would have thought?
But going back, because I always find people in LA, and I cannot stand. All right, I get it. Some people may truthfully just not be phased. Because I was just talking to someone in my office about it today. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people out here like, yeah, I don't fangirl over people. Like, I get it, over like being a crazy fan. That's one thing. But I don't like when people are like, yeah, I don't have like anyone who would shock me if I met them. I'm like, do you not have like fun? Like,
Do you not have emotions?
Do you not have So going off that Billie Eilish story, because I would have had the same thing. I would have been like, who is, if you can say it, like if it's not like fucking NDA type stuff, whatever, who's the like the person you've gotten to work with the most that you were just like, fuck, like I'm here right now.
That I got to work with or that I met?
Do both, because like they're on different like scales, obviously, but that you got to one work with and then two meet that you were just like, Jesus Christ, like kid from up north is doing this. This him thinking means there's a lot of people he's got.
I'll do this. The person that I met out here in this like space that really changed me a bit was meeting David Dobrik and like talking to him, and because
this podcast
his
knows
videos,
I fucking love David Dobrik.
His videos really inspired me to leave college and like really go into the YouTube space. Like at the time he was killing it.
The top of the top.
And I started watching him when he wasn't killing it. Like
yeah.
very early YouTube
like right
videos
after Vine.
when I was in high school. Yeah. And I just kept following him and watching him grow and grow and grow. And it was so inspiring because I'm like, I'm a similar age as him. What's the difference? You know, you need a group of friends. You need to be funny. You need to, you know how to film and edit.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew all that, and I had all that. So meeting him was really shocking.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, don't meet your idols.
Yeah.
Because then the sparkle goes away.
Yep.
And at a certain point, you don't really have a choice. You know, you're gonna
be around.
You're gonna see people. You're gonna be around people, and yeah. In terms of working, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Maybe Logan.
Yeah, that's another one I would just fucking love.
Yeah.
To meet that's so crazy. I remember when because is that allowed to be talked about?
Yeah.
All right, because Mike mentioned you on his channel like two or three, and I texted you about that too.
Oh,
which
yeah,
I
you
thought
did,
was
yeah.
so fucking cool. But no, when you told, I remember that was at Havenhurst too. When that same time we had the conversation, you told me you were interested and that there was like a possibility that you'd be able to work with these people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was like, no fucking way. Like
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it wasn't. You didn't come up to me like I'm doing. You told me like no, like there's like I'm hoping to be able to get this thing. I'd be like, bro, that'd be fucking sick.
So that was crazy because my friend sent me this tweet from Logan saying like, oh, I need a new editor. And I'm like, okay. So on Twitter, I clicked apply. Like I went like, instead of going through connections and stuff, I went like, I could have been
Old
from
school.
Wyoming, old school. And I went through it was a long process.
Yeah.
And it was like a long form of what you've done, who you know, and like all your work.
Okay.
Now it's handheld.
I think we're gonna be doing handle, but you keep going.
Oh, you're chilling. Yeah, so they got back to me, and they got back to like 60 people. So I was still like, okay. They sent me some footage, some test footage. Oh, you're.
I'm having a hard
I actually
time.
might like these more handheld.
Do you want to hand them, or you want to?
I don't know.
That
Hand
sounds
them?
so awful.
Oh.
Do you want to hand hold them? I'm gonna try one more time, and then if it doesn't work, I'm holding this because I'm pretty sure it's just this. There we
There
go.
you go.
Okay, cool. I'm just not touching it again.
Um.
So it was a long process for the application.
Yes, and then there was like 60 people. I was one of them. They sent me some test footage. They're like, do something with it, make it cool. Like it was very broad. I'm like, okay. So I made it cool, sent it back. About a week later, they're like, okay, you're on our like top 10. Here's
That's gotta be
this
such a cool
prime.
feeling.
Here's a prime video. Edit the entire thing for promo, and send it back, and we're gonna pick the best one. And I did it, and it was. I think they really liked it, so they hit me back again to edit like a prime ad. So that's like they posted it and everything. And then after that, I was like on the top 1 or 2 people that Logan was working with. And so he hit me up later to help with his Polaroid project.
Obsessed with that.
Yeah. So Hayden was the main editor for that, but I was helping him a little bit.
That dude's insane.
He's insane.
Like his skill is crazy.
And I actually went to his house and was working with him like all day on the different clips and videos. So that was an experience in itself. Like not just doing Logan stuff, but working with Hayden. He's a legend.
Yeah, that he's so like, and so Logan, someone we're not. So I'm just gonna like go off of both of these people you just met. Logan, someone that, without sounding dramatic, like changed my life in 2020. Where I never watched Logan I never watched Logan. Hey yo, good morning, Logan.
You watched
What's
him like when he was
poppin'?
stealing David Dobrik style.
It was literally right after Logan KSI 2. Because
Okay.
I didn't watch him during Logan KSI, because I wasn't really in like the YouTube space like that as much. I started watching Logan after, and then that's when they lived in Encino. It was him, Mike, Evan,
During the pandemic.
during the
Yeah.
pandemic, and it gave me such like, and I know this is gonna sound like court, whatever, but like such a homey feeling where I was like, okay, like this dude is really friends with all these people. All they're doing, they're not. Don't get me wrong. Like obviously, like the videos costed money, but I was like, they're not doing the most crazy. Like, and I love Mr. Beast, so no hate, but like they're not doing his shit like crazy.
A lot of it was just at the house.
Literally just
Yeah.
like, oh, we're gonna fucking cut down a log, put it in the pool, and we're just part of the video is gonna be how long can I go running on it and
Yeah.
stuff. We're gonna go to Lake June, like stuff that I pictured. Like, wow, these videos Logan's making, it's literally the stuff I do with my friends, except he's just fucking rich and doing the cool. And so for 2020, I watched his videos for his Dobrik style religiously, and it changed everything to the point where I was just like, okay, I need to get out there. And so that's why when you mentioned Logan, I was like, that's so fucking cool, because he's always been.
Oh, so he kind of got you out here.
He was one, and
wow.
then the person that really did it for me was the one you mentioned first. Off something about his videos, and not so, like I know everyone says the same thing, so it's not like this something that's, but like they're just amazing. Like to your point of he had his friend group. I thought it was so genius where, because you look at it, it's just like Jonah. His real name is not Jonah. Like David was so genius where he's like, this vlog series is legitimately going to be a TV show necessarily, in terms of like we're all going to have characters that we play. Like, because don't get me wrong, I'm sure a lot of them act how they act on video in real life in certain scenarios, but you'll even hear them talk about it sometimes where they would play up a character, and that's how you fucking makes. And I don't even give a shit about like the views. That's just how you make a cool video, when just like people can be so entertaining. They can be whoever they want to be, whether that's themselves or a character. And he's like, okay, we're gonna have our people. They're always doing something fucking. I equated David to if you gave an elementary school kid unlimited money and he was just vlogging recess and field trips all day. And I was just like, so Logan and David changed everything to the point where I was like, okay, I need to like dive into, not necessarily I wish I dove into the editing aspect of it and shooting and stuff. I more just dove into like, okay, I want to learn everything. Learn how to connect with someone. How do I get to this person and be able to be good friends with that person and like go just...
It's all a game.
Yeah.
And if you know how to play this correctly, you're going to do just fine.
And it's funny that you said that the game, because I've heard that so much since moving here, where it's like, play the game.
Yeah.
And I know it's so broad and it sounds like, what are you talking about?
Like they probably don't know what we're talking about. Maybe you do.
Yeah, maybe they do, but they probably don't, low key. And playing the game just makes a lot of sense. But no, I think that's so cool that you got to like don't get me wrong, and I love David, but the Logan thing sent me just because, again, as you see what he's doing now with Prime, it's
actually insane.
It's because especially like we sit here in our office trying to like adopt some of the cool like tactics he has too, because they have brands like, and we realize like, okay, like, and as of yesterday or 2 days ago, they sold 1 billion bottles. They're going to be valued at $1.5 billion, and it's because they are just, don't get me wrong, I've drank Prime. Tastes great. Drink Prime Energy. They got a good product.
I actually don't like it.
Really?
No.
Have you tried both?
Yes.
So I'm not the biggest fan. I was never a Gatorade kid anyways, so didn't do much. I definitely have an addiction, like just through and through, to energy drinks.
Okay.
I just fucking love it. And that's going to sound like such a gym bro douchebag. I just like the taste. I like having energy.
I like energy drinks. I do.
And the second I tasted the fruit punch one, sold. I was like, I'm your demographic.
I had
I'm who you're targeting right now.
the pink one. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, what, the bubblegum maybe?
No,
Some
not
shit like
it
that?
tasted like cough
Strawberry.
syrup.
Oh, God.
But the normal prime, to me, I think it's like way too sweet.
Okay, and that's where, because I have child taste buds. That's why I just still don't.
You like it?
Yeah, and that's why it's such a funny point where even when I go to parties in LA, people like assume like, oh, what's the backstory? Because I don't drink, like ever. And everyone.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like you do, and everyone assumes like the first question is like, oh, like
Are you okay?
did something happen?
Yeah.
Like
That's
these
people are so
stories.
used to that, and that's why they probably ask you because 90% of people
Do
that's
that
the
shit.
truth here.
Yeah, no, I just don't drink because I have child taste buds. Every piece of alcohol, other than maybe, which I know this is gonna sound so goofy, white wine. Other than white wine, it all tastes horrible to me.
Oh, so you don't drink because it tastes like shit?
That's it. Has nothing to do with like, because there's maybe once a year during summer when I'm back home in New York and we'll be at like a lake with our friends, like, and I'll be like, you know what? It's carefree right now. Like, I don't give a shit if it tastes bad. I'm gonna hustle through. Like, being drunk and shit's fun, but it's the equivalent of when people are like, I'll be like, no, this tastes like shit. Like, I do not want it. And they're like, it's not supposed to taste good. Like, it's just supposed to get you fucked up.
I feel like you haven't tried enough like good cocktails.
Will you help me find some?
Yeah,
I'm
like have
deadass.
you had an espresso martini?
No.
You like coffee?
I love coffee.
You
But I feel like
don't
that'd be
taste
so
the
bitter.
liquor.
Really?
No, it's sweet.
If you find me, like, after sometime one of these next weekends, take me to somewhere, because it's kind of funny that I know Johnny would always take snaps or Instagram stories of, like, good espresso martinis. If you
There's a reason.
find me, or, like, take me to a good one, I'll absolutely have an espresso martini.
And my roommate, Landon, he's like...
I always see him
he's
making
like a
these
bartender.
I see him. Is he really?
Well, online.
Okay, well, no, because I would believe it, because I see his videos, and I'm just like the one over Halloween, he made like the cool spider web one with the marshmallows. Like, this
He makes good... I mean, those are like for...
Yeah, it's for
you know,
show.
internet shit. But he'll make you a really good drink that you won't taste the liquor.
And like that's my thing where it's like, and I know this is such a girl drink, but it's whatever. Back at my hometown, one of our college bars, they give you fish bowls, like just big ass thing. It's essentially like, it's quite literally the size of a real fish bowl, but it's like they're still giving you a lot of liquor, but that lot of liquor is maybe like, let's say like 6 shots worth.
Oh, it's like
but the
Saddle
rest,
Ranch.
No, literally.
Yeah.
And the rest is juice though. So it's like, you're technically drinking 6 shots, but the amount of juice put in to fill that to the brim makes it so that you don't taste a fucking thing.
It might be good though that you're not drinking. I would keep that for as long as possible because drinking really like
takes its toll.
it takes its toll. It's not a good thing.
It's not a good
Actually,
thing.
I take that
You
back.
heard it from, okay, I was just saying, you
No,
heard
no,
it from
no.
JR first, not the best thing.
It's not the best thing. Like, yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of, because it's not just drinking. Like, you're now Ubering. You're now like going to clubs and for me, like buying people drinks and
having that 2 a.m. call where you might have to order Taco Bell with each other after.
Taco Bell.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Taco Bell, 100%. But that was my funny point where when people like, and this was always like my best friends back, they're not supposed to taste fucking good, this and that. And I'm like, all right, like if I gave you a bowl of olives right now, said eat that shit, they're like, that's fucking disgusting. I'm like, no, but they fuck you up. Still not, bro. That's such a bad example. I'm not doing that. I'm like, it's the exact same example.
Yeah.
Because you fuck. So
I see how you
just
feel.
yeah. So I just need to find. But I'm California sober. Like I love love me some. Honestly,
I cannot smoke anymore.
really.
Nope.
So I want to ask you what. So I should have prefaced that because what I'm about to say makes it sound like the last statement I said was fake. And I've recently, I don't know what it is, but when I get stoned, it's half paranoia and then half almost. And I'm not someone who may come one day, like, and I know people who like I've been lucky enough not to have anxiety, anything like that, like on a day-to-day thing. But when I smoke sometimes, like it comes out and it comes out to the point where it's so irrational, but I've gotten to a place luckily of like who I get to work with, stuff I get to do, that when I smoke weed, I legitimately feel like, oh, I'm going to lose everything tomorrow.
Oh, it's like career based.
Yeah. Which is like stupid as fuck. Cause I'm just like, I'm still going to do my shit. Like it's not, but it's just come from, and I don't know why that is, like, cause I'll be like, when my friends from like my best friends from back home come and visit, like all we want to do is smoke. And then sometimes I'm just like, fuck, like I'm just going to lose
So you're
it.
like,
I'm gonna go back home.
is it almost like an automatic thing sometimes where it immediately goes to that?
It takes probably like 20, 30 minutes to kick into that, but then it does get to that.
But it always goes to that thought.
Same thought.
So that's me with like my health. When I get really high, I get like, am I dying? Is this wrong? Is this wrong? Like,
And I've had those too, so you're not alone. Like,
yeah.
I've had those too.
But it's not just like, oh, is my heart beating? It's like, do I have cancer type shit? Like really like serious like, and it always goes to that. It always goes to that. And I'm like, I need to remember I'm high, I'm on weed. Like,
are you someone with, not to like dive have you ever had health scares before?
No, not like that.
So yeah, it's good. And like I've never had like an issue with work, like losing. I mean, I guess technically when I stopped working for Josh and Bryce, there was a sudden, like I literally had 2 days notice where they're like, hey, like the company's kind of no longer like.
And that's also like, not to get away from the weed talk, but that's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What?
It was so like, we'll go back to the weed talk in a second, but it was like, I just got a call from Katie Callis and there's like, yeah, like there's some stuff going on, like, you know, money spent marketing wise and like whatever, like the boys are taking a step back from stuff. So like after 2 weeks, like everyone's not getting paychecks anymore and it's over. And I was like, it was right. Did you go to Stagecoach? Josh's Stagecoach? Okay. It was literally, that was the last day because we were supposed to have a whole activation there. I remember that. Had everything ready. And there's like, yeah, you can still come. And I was like, okay, am I supposed to, should I bring the cooler? Like Annie's up there? Like, no. I was like, okay.
You knew something was up.
So yeah, and then that's when Katie called me and was just like, hey, like, yeah, I feel like I should let you know this. And I was like, because like, thankfully with her and Brianna, like we're friends outside of work, so they were just like, yeah, this and this is going on. And I was like, fuck. And this was like a month before my fucking birthday. I was like, God damn, I'm gonna be jobless. I was jobless on my goddamn birthday when my parents came to visit. They're like, how's work? I was like, really good.
Wow.
Like, it's great.
Oh, you weren't gonna tell her?
No, because like they don't give a like, in a good way. Like my parents have like, especially coming from like a hometown where to get successful you're either doing like construction or fucking real estate, one or the other. They don't understand this world at all. They're just ecstatic where they're like, oh my God, like I saw this person that you've done work with and I saw them on the Instagram and I saw like, and so they're just so goddamn supportive. So I didn't want to like have them. My mom's a big worrier, like just because I'm her youngest. Like, I mean, I only have one older brother, but I'm her youngest. Like, I'm a mama's boy, so like anything she does, like she's gonna worry. Yeah. So I was like, no, work's going great, it's good. And then when I got the job with the family, that's when I told them, like, oh yeah, no, like I don't. That job, I've been unemployed for like 5 months. They're like, oh, but I was like, I'm good.
But not anymore.
I'm good now. We have a job. We're good. So no, that was that story, and it was crazy. But going back to weed now, like it makes me sad because. And I know this is gonna sound like some just crazy geek talk, but like my favorite thing ever was just like sitting, because being really stoned helped me in every aspect creatively. Like it just made because before all of this, I was a photographer. That's all I did, and it would like make me have cool edits to the video. I'd have so much fun sitting down. Now when I do it, it's like everything comes on at once where I'm like, am I even fucking creative? Like, what the fuck? Like, like I can't even concentrate on this. Like, holy shit, heart's beating.
Oh, when you're high.
When I'm
trying
stoned.
to work.
Yeah, and it just doesn't work. And like,
you're distracted.
So distracted. Like, it was a month ago maybe, Emma's sister came to visit. And I knew that like, and it's only been happening for like 3 months maybe. Like, this is a recent thing with weed, which is weird. And she was like, oh, like, and Emma has never smoked, but she was like, oh, do you want to smoke? And I was like, because she visited for like 4 or 5 days. For the first 2 days, I was like, oh, no, I just got to get some stuff done. Like, you know, I'm just doing some shit. And then after that, I was like, oh, yeah, fuck it. I'll take a couple hits. We were sitting there eating dinner, and like, I literally thought that I ate my whole bowl and I was chilling and whatnot. We had pasta, like that little, like, just rigatoni style pasta. I ate one piece. I looked down at my bowl. I was like, I'm fucked.
You thought you finished the entire thing?
Yeah, because I was just like so anxiety ridden at that point that I was just like, I didn't want to eat anything. I was just like, do they think I'm like geeking out right now? I think I'm okay. Like, am I fine? Like shit. But I think I found the solution that I need to overcome all of it, and it's 100% taking acid.
What?
Yeah.
Why did it go from weed to? No, it's not.
So, two of my best friends.
No, it's not.
Two of my best friends who I love more than anything in my life. Funny. They're from my hometown, and they live in Denver now. Me and Emma go every Thanksgiving to go visit them. They are the epitome.
Yeah, they moved to Denver.
They're the epitome of just in every way, shape, or like not crazy shit, but acid. Like just they love everything. They love to have a great time, and they've been doing it like, and they've known me since 6th grade, maybe 5th grade, and they love their psychedelics, all that type of shit. And with acid, everyone I know who takes it, they're like, oh, it's an ego death. There's this, there's that, etc. And I've always just wanted to try it. I'm not someone who's sitting here like, yeah, I want to take it all. I would just like to try it, see what it would do. But I made not a bet, but I made a pact with myself where I'm like, okay, these two dudes know this drug better than anyone I've ever met in my life. They know me just about better than anybody I've met in my life. So the first time I do it has to be with them.
Okay.
Because if there's a bad trip, something's going on, whatever, there's no one I would trust more in my life than them to like know how to deal with me. Because like, again, they've had many bad trips and got over it. They've had a great time on it. They've had a horrible time on it. And they know me and my personality. So it has to be with them. But I just have to figure out the right time to do it.
So I did acid.
How'd you?
In college.
Really? How'd you
And
like it?
that was when I was a stoner. So
Yeah.
I used to be a really big stoner. I did half a tab.
Okay.
It was a lot.
I like how I have to.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's. Have you done shrooms?
No, and I want to like microdose those too. I feel like I could do those without
Yeah.
like supervision.
It really takes you out of this reality.
Yeah.
Whatever you see right now, it's like, and your perspective of everything, it's all down. Like you raise up and you like see everything from a bird's eye view. It's really hard to explain.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it. Like, not get it because I haven't done it, but like I know what you mean. Like,
But I went through phases like everything was funny.
mm-hmm.
I looked in the mirror and my eyes were like down here. You can't look at yourself in the mirror. No one told me that.
You're just looking like I'm dying.
Like I was not supposed to look at myself right now. This is because you'll freak out. I don't know why. Whenever you look at yourself, your face is morphed.
Just distorted as fuck.
Distorted.
Yeah.
Like, but it looks real. And
terrifying.
I in my college dorm, I looked down the hallway. This is when I was tripping.
Yeah.
And the lights were flickering like back and forth.
Like Stranger Things almost. Type
Yeah,
shit.
but like literally like back and forth, and I was like, is this real? Like it is real, but it's not.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy.
it's like doing VR,
but in real, like
Yes.
you're and how long? Because everyone I know who's like done just like a tab always says 12 hours. Was your half a tab 12 hours too? Or
it was
it a
like
little less?
8 or 9.
And
But it's not
that's-
fully tripping. Like it's like up and then slowly down.
And that's my biggest thing where it's like when I'd be stoned all day. It's like, okay, like I know that if at 8 p.m. I do not want to be stoned anymore, I'm just going to stop smoking at 6, something like that. Or if it's just like drunk's a little different because obviously like it can last a little bit, but it's like, oh, if I'm guessing a severe alcoholic and you start drinking at 9 a.m., it's just like, oh, if I want to be nice and sobered up by 8 p.m., I'll stop drinking at 5 or like what, you know what I mean? But like that's signing up for at least a minimum of 8 hours. That's a commitment.
You need like a weekend.
And that's like you're not getting behind the wheel of a car. Like I mean, I know people who have driven on acid, and it's like crazy. But you have to stay put. You need some boys around. Like it's a commitment of shit you have to do. So that's why I'm like, okay, like maybe not. And then yeah,
Also, like nothing will matter either. Like you won't care to go on your phone.
which is kind of cool.
You won't. You're gonna see that vape and you're not gonna want to hit it because it's like
I mean, I'm trying to quit. Do I need
it gets
acid?
deep. Like, why am I looking at my phone 24/7? Why am I hitting this vape? Like, it gets.
Yeah, no, like it, like not
You start noticing
philosophical, but just like it gets like deeper thinking, and that's kind of why I want to do it. Where it's like I know it sounds goofy, like having that tie to weed, but like I want to be able to have like, because don't get me wrong, I've had those sober thoughts before. I'm like, I've been on my phone all day, like what the fuck, or like I was having a thought last night with the vape where I'm just like, damn, like I hit this shit too much. Like maybe I should not hit this shit too much. But I feel like when you are off of a psychedelic, it hits that much more where you're really thinking about it, and it makes that thought, like my thought last night of, oh, maybe I shouldn't hit this that much. 6 minutes later, it was hitting it.
Yeah.
But when you're tripping, it's like, oh shit, like that thought hits deeper to the point where you really think like, do I really need to do that?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like that's kind of why I want to do it. But there's a lot I want to. I mean,
I did shrooms too. I did
in
college.
Yeah, and this is gonna sound weird, and I don't know why it ties to this. I mean,
shrooms.
I guess it makes sense, but a lot of my thing with those recreational fun ties into financial shit, where if I knew that either the work I'm doing or just the amount I have, I'm gonna be fine no matter what the fuck I ever do, I'd probably be so much more open to like, oh, I don't care what we're doing right now, tripping, this, that, just because I know like, oh, at the end of the day, like even if God forbid worst case scenario happens and like I accidentally burn my house down and like, so oh, I got money, like not that I would ever want that, but just like that thought, because again, I know this is gonna sound so fucking crazy for someone who doesn't even drink, but like I know people who have done DMT, I know people who've done ayahuasca, and it's just like, and do I want to sit here and like, yo, this weekend I want to go? No. But I feel like those situations, when you really just let yourself go of everything, become so much less stressful to you when you realize like, oh, I don't have any stresses anymore, you know? And I know this is going to sound so materialistic, but not materialistic, but like I'm a 100% believer that like money would literally solve every issue I have.
Yeah.
Every fucking, like I have, and again, I'm blessed for this. So it's not like, great relationship with my parents, like love them. Good relationship with my older brother, love them. Like my friends back home are all doing what they love, and like even whether that is like one of them's in construction, whatever, like they love their shit. I love watching them win. Like M's do like stuff in my life. Luckily, and don't get me wrong, shit can hit a fan. I've been there. Trust me, I've been through it many times before. So at the moment, like everything's good. Where I know like, oh, like most of my issues, I want to be able to sit here and be like, I'm going to Europe next week.
I am.
Where are you going? This fucking. I'm going to Europe next week. Where are you going?
I'm actually going Saturday.
Where?
For a month. I'm going to Portugal. No, keep going. Fuck whatever.
No. That was the I want to be able to travel. That's literally like that would make me the happiest person in the world, is to just be able to like any random day like be like, hey, like we trying to go to fucking South America. Oh, you want to go to Nashville for a week? Let's go to Europe. Like shit like that.
So do you feel like, is that what you're working towards? Like you want to travel?
100%. And I want to be, and I know it sounds very having your cake and eating it too, or what. I want to be able to travel without work attached to it. Where, don't get me wrong, traveling for the job I have now, so fucking great. Like they've like taken us to do cool shit. The work's been great, and I could not be more grateful for that comes attached to this job. But I want to be able to say, oh, fuck it, we're going to New York City for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
I'm just doing whatever I want. Oh, I want to go to fucking, let's go to, like, when I was watching, don't get me wrong, it was for a reason, but tying back to what we were talking about, when I was watching 99 Originals, like, don't get me wrong, like, he went for a reason to take those pictures and whatnot, but seeing all those different trips, I was just like, that looks, like, and, because I always have this talk with my parents where I'm like, oh, I want to be rich, and they're like, you want to buy cars and jewelry and clothes? I'm like, fuck, you see the way I dress? Like, I'm not gonna be, I want to be able to pick up and text my friends like, yo, like, let's go to wherever, like, on me, or like, let's go, like, I want to be able to do that. And fucking, I'm going to Denver the 21st of this month. Denver, mind you, a 2-hour plane ride, $400. That's not cheap.
Really?
Yes. And given I bought the tickets 2 weeks out, but that shouldn't fucking matter. I'm going on a 2-hour plane ride.
It's expensive.
It's $400. That's my point, where it's like, I just want to be able to go. So yeah, that's why I would solve my issues. But on to you. What you doing so you're Portugal first. You're going for a month.
Yeah, it's a funny story. So Portugal, Austria. I have family in Austria.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
I have like aunts and uncles that I've never met before.
That's going to be cool.
And then Germany. My cousins live there.
So you're going to... So
I'll explain. So
yeah.
I was going to go with Josh to this web conference in Portugal.
Okay.
So this was months ago, and they planned my ticket and blah, blah, blah. Literally 3 weeks ago, they canceled the entire web conference. And I'm like, I planned this whole trip out to, like, after the web conference, I'm going to go see my family. Thank God they have my ticket still, because it's like they couldn't cancel it.
That's
so they're
awesome.
like, here's your ticket. And so I'm going. I have a free flight there.
Shout out the business, man. Honestly.
Shout out. Yeah. So I'm going to be out there for like 3.5 weeks.
That's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And because the reason I like that is like, and I know there are beaches in Portugal, and I know it's funny because I moved to a place like Los Angeles. I'm not a beach person. I don't know if you can tell about my skin.
I'm not either.
I don't tan.
Yeah. I'm
not someone who can sit out on hot. Like, I like Austria, Germany, fucking Switzerland, Norway. Like, I want to go to that part of Europe and like Ireland and shit. So
it looks insane, like Switzerland.
Have you ever seen The Sound of Music?
Yes.
Have you
yes,
really?
Yes,
so
yes.
The reason I think that's so cool is that my mom's all-time favorite movie ever, and that just got me obsessed with fucking Austria, and which is goofy, like being, bro. Like I expect you being you to take some sort of cool pictures or videos.
Oh, yeah,
I
for
know you're
sure.
out there for leisure, but just like some
I'll
type of
have
cool
some free
shit.
time.
All right, cool. Because
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to, because I'm gonna live vicariously through you when you're there.
My family, like, they live in the Alps, like, and I'm like, is there like a vape shop out there? Like, I'm already.
Am I allowed to
thinking,
bring my vape? Like you're gonna pack like 9 of these in your
like,
undercarriage.
can I bring Adderall? Are they gonna arrest me like with the blow dart? Like, shoot me with the
It's
blow
like,
dart?
do they have cigs there? Like at least,
They
like
have
God
ci- they have
forbid, I
cigarettes
need
for sure.
I
They
need
love it.
something. And actually, I don't think they have vapes there.
I don't think they have a store out there. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to
They
expect
get their
in Austria.
milk from cows and goats.
They probably do.
I think that's so cool though to have like, cause and don't get me wrong, people that don't have it, you're fine. But like, I think it's so cool to have like, whether it's distant or immediate family living in places like that you might not, because you said that you didn't know that you had
Never.
family out there.
Well, I knew, but I haven't.
You didn't know
We've
where
never been there.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
now
think
I'm
that's
older, and I'm like, let me do it.
appreciating the fuck out of it and just being like, that's cool. Cause it wasn't a family member, but it was just like probably one of my favorite moments ever where like really close family friend of mine, like they had a close family friend of like my mom and dad's, they had probably like 6 different kids. So like, and mind you, these people are like 40, 50 now. So like
Yeah.
they're older, but one lived in our hometown, another in fucking Massachusetts, whatever. One of their kids that my parents was friends with lived in Costa Rica. And when I was in 6th grade, I think we went to Costa Rica and we went to typical, like we stayed at a like nice little place on a beach, like this type of shit, like was nice. It was just me, my mom, and my brother. My dad didn't go. And she was like, okay, now we're going to visit, it was Michael or I forget, Kevin. We're going to go visit Kevin. And we were like, okay, cool. Like he's having one of his guys come pick us up and we're going to go. We're like, awesome. I shit you not, probably, I want to say 40 miles minimum of a dirt road
Oh, they're like out
into the
there.
jungle of Costa Rica with just my 5'1" mother.
He lives out there?
Yes. So he lives in, like, he was like, fuck it, I'm going to go start like a commune out in,
He's
like,
selling drugs.
100%. Like,
Is he?
No, like, not that we saw, but like, something like,
Well, you didn't know.
I didn't. I mean,
You
I
were a
was
youngin'.
I was geeked up every night. I'll tell you that much. But I was fucking 12, I think.
What do you mean you were geeked up?
I'm kidding. It was
Oh,
fucked up.
I thought you were doing like some what's it called, that
jungle shit. Were you
that
like a
toad
toad?
shit? Yeah, yeah.
Mike Tyson's talking about. But no, I was 12. My brother was 14, and my 5'1" mother get picked up by a man in Costa Rica. And we drive
Very sketchy sounds.
Super sketchy. And I didn't care because, mind you, I was 12. I didn't give a fuck. I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, we're living in like the Jungle Book right now. This is cool.
But
And
you couldn't protect your mom.
we're
No.
dead. God forbid something
Yeah.
that we're dead. And my mom didn't tell us until years later. Where she was like, I was fucking terrified because she kept it. She like me and her are very adventurous, so like we would do whatever.
She kept it cool though.
Kept it so cool, and she didn't tell us till years after. Like I was absolutely terrified of like what was going on. We were going to the jungle, but anywho, we get to this guy's commune. Literally, like no, they had to have had electricity because like my mom had a phone in it, but like no TVs, no like shit to make food, no stove. Like they just used fire. Like it was just that type of. They literally lived off of the land. Like the water we drank was from like a huge rainwater thing that they distilled into like clean water, whatever.
You'll be with him after that acid trip. For
I'm
sure.
gonna be back in the commune 100%. And I just remember my most vivid memory is they lived next to this huge river, and it had cliffs next to it and shit. So we went cliff jumping one day, and mind you, I'm 12. I jump in the water or whatever, and like what would happen is like the cliff would be here. You jump in the water. The river wasn't flowing at like 100 miles an hour. Like it was like a nice stream of the water was super deep, but like you jump in, the water would take you maybe 20, 30 feet to like a smaller rock. You'd walk up and do it again type shit. And doing it for maybe 20 minutes, whatever. I finally jump in the water and I just hear like it wasn't Kevin, but it was another guy who was like leading our little hike and shit like that. And he's like, we need to go, like, guys, we need to go. We need to go. And I was like, okay, like, cool, time to go, whatever. And didn't think anything of it. I walk out up on the rock coming back, and I just hear like, thought he was mad at me. He goes, stop walking. And I was like, what the fuck? And I look down, and there's this snake that is like colorful, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, and he goes, you need to be very careful about what your next step is. And I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like,
Was it big?
Like, it wasn't huge. It was probably maybe like that thick, but it was a coral snake. I didn't find out until I researched it when I got back home. It was the 3rd most poisonous snake in the world. I was 12, and they were in the water.
Oh. They were in the water?
Yeah, like they weren't, I don't know how infested it was, but they were in the water and around. And this isn't making my point of like being out in like those 8 places. It was really cool, and I had an amazing time.
That's one way to die. That's kind of savage.
That would,
the best way to die.
How fucking cool would that be? Like, I was in the middle of the jungle in Costa Rica. It's like those people that get like shot at with arrows by like rainforest people.
Yeah.
Like, that's sick.
It's like, that's one way to get out.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
So you're obviously going into the Alps in Austria. Have you seen Midsummer?
Yes.
Are you at all, at just even 1%, like, oh, fuck. Like, I might run into some...
I hope.
Culture.
I
I hope. But you don't want to be the one that gets caught on fire at the end.
No.
No, that would not be fun. You want to be Florence Pugh.
That movie's fucking crazy.
That's A24 is... What's your favorite genre? Like, because as someone who, like, loves, like, obviously making videos and, like, the art, what's your favorite
horror
genre?
movies.
Same.
But I like the shitty ones, like The Conjuring.
Yep.
And, like, I'm so into
Fucking
it.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Stuff.
yeah.
Yep. And I just watched that for the first time this Halloween.
Oh, really?
I started with the Jessica Biel one.
Uh-huh.
I did not realize how hot she was.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't, like, we met her actually in Bentonville, Arkansas, randomly, like 3 weeks ago with the family. We went for a Walmart thing, and she's very pretty, but she's like 50 now. So I was like, oh no, she's a pretty woman. They're like, no, she was the it girl at one point.
She was the it girl.
Didn't realize I watched the
Now
movie.
she's a gilf.
Yeah, she 100%
as they
gilf.
say.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
fucking gilf. But back to your point, no, horror, like, there's 2 different ones that I believe there's a huge difference between scary and creepy.
And like A24.
And A24 is the psychological, like, you got Midsummer, Hereditary. I don't think they did Smile, but Smile was good too.
I didn't really like Smile. We went to some like premiere for it.
I hated the ending.
It was just, it felt way too blockbuster corny. Like I was still waiting for like it to get good.
Yeah,
and
I can respect that.
But yeah, A24 kills it every single time. And what's the one that those YouTubers made? Talk to Me.
Talk to Me. I still need to watch it because I watched the Impulsive episode that they were on, and like I guess they wrote some of it at Logan's house when they were there.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like like this is gonna be the quickest segue. Logan has the closest, I think. Have you watched Entourage?
Mm-hmm.
Logan's, I think, the closest person in any space to
Yeah.
living an Entourage life. Truthfully,
It's even crazier than Entourage.
yeah. Which
somehow.
yeah, if you actually like, and I personally don't, but like I'm sure people who are close to them that actually know what they do. We only see what, at least me, I only see what they put out on video. Can only fucking imagine what it's like behind closed doors.
And when he was single and just,
And he's a good looking dude. Fucking
Oh, yeah.
6'3", fucking jacked.
it's crazy.
WWE superstar. But no, going back, definitely a horror person. Midsummer, I like the movies that like legitimately make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm like, the fuck, I don't want to go to this retreat that you're going to in Norway right now. Like, thank you, no thank you.
But it like, if that happened to me, oh, and they took shrooms.
They did. They took something.
They took something.
It was. We'll say it was true. It was some type of plant that they put
made
in
it
water.
look like a shroom trip.
Yeah. He did the clap.
Yeah.
And everything
yeah,
just
yeah.
fucking stopped for him. He's like, oh, fuck.
It's well, actually that was a good representation of like a bad trip.
Okay.
If you remember that.
Yeah, that scene.
Like everything was kind of going wrong. They were freaking out. You'll do fine on psychedelics.
Okay, good. 'Cause
'Cause I feel like you're in a good headspace.
yeah, I think I'm like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not someone who's like, yeah, I'm so mentally, like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, I'm not fucking like
No one
David
is.
Goggins,
Yeah.
but just like, I feel like I'm mentally strong enough to be able to have an okay time off psychedelics. I got good people around me. And I think the number one thing I got to realize is, and I was just talking to Mark about this today, which I don't know why and how the conversation got to this. I think it's because I asked him a question. But he's like, dude, like, honestly, I don't want to hear people tell me that, like, you know, like that stuff's really going bad until, like, you know, I'm breathing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm alive. And I'm like, okay, like, very basic, but like normal point. I get it. Like, because as long as like, and I don't mean until as in like want to, but like until like my parents or friends are gone, it's okay. Like my parents are breathing and healthy. My friends are breathing and healthy. Fuck it. You lost a job, whatever. One will
You're
come.
alive.
Like, you fucking had a bad day, breaking one down, sing a sad song just to turn it around. Like, it fucking happens. But no, so that's one thing I wanted to ask you too, and it just came to my mind. It's funny that, like, see, this is why I like you, because like we can actually have like, because I had a whole like notes page that we're kind of like touched on stuff because I wanted to talk about, but it's just flowing. So and I want to hear it from your point of view, because you got to be on the ground level, on the inside of arguably, I'd say, the biggest social media boom I think we've ever seen. Like, I think
TikTok,
I think the 2020 TikTok boom was bigger than any YouTuber come up rising. Now, I don't mean, don't get me wrong. Jake and Logan were huge after Vine. I get the after Vine
But this
stuff,
happened so fast.
but it took years, like
Yeah.
2-3 years to get them up there. The biggest social media boom ever. Do you think streamers are the next?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna bring up streamers.
'Cause I got
It's looking like it,
Yeah.
but
piece of shit.
it's easier to digest TikTok content. Streaming, not everyone could watch. Well, like we could watch clips, but that's on TikTok.
That's on TikTok.
Streams, like you really
Be dedicated. to
can't
sit
have a
there for-
life to be watching these people
At
because
all.
they're long, you know.
Unless you're
and,
sitting there on your phone too, like this 24/7.
yeah.
It's like, what are you doing?
and the thing is, with streams, you want to see it live, and I
Mm-hmm.
think people don't want to watch a 5-hour video.
Yep.
They want to see it live, and whatever happens. But the thing about streaming is, once you stop streaming, say you get arrested and you're in jail, like streaming, a week later everyone's gonna forget about you.
Yep.
Like Fousey started the IRL streaming, and he killed it, and he inspired so many people to start live streaming in their real life. He got arrested,
Yep.
and he was in there for like a long ass time, 75 days or 76
and
days.
He just got out.
He just got out, but during that time, it's kind of like that was an era, and then things passed.
See fucking Neon,
Yeah.
Sneeko,
Yeah.
like all these other dudes just like popping up.
And you know, it's funny. I just filmed a Neon 2 days ago.
Did you really?
And his
What's he like in
girlfriend
person?
Sam wanted me to film their live stream, so I'm
Uh-huh.
like, okay, I want to learn, and I Neon tried to like get into my party on Halloween, and it just didn't work.
Okay, that's when Johnny, because I saw
yes.
Johnny on video being like, "We're not doing this tonight."
Did you see that?
Wait, so that was that the party I went to on Halloween, or was that a different one?
It was on Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah, so in downtown.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I must have came after that happened then.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like. I feel like I would have seen any sort of come out, and like that's when you were inside. So like I'm guessing like it's your party, so you don't got to deal with that shit.
But I had to.
Really?
Yeah, because I kind of wanted them in.
Because it's good. Like
But anywho, he's really dope off
really
stream.
off stream. Yeah.
I thought I wasn't gonna like him because, like, you know, you see his clips and
Yeah.
he's just very crazy and not.
Is he
too
playing
nice
a
to
character
people.
more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like when I met him in
Which
real
I
life.
I do not mind when something like it gets to a point, but if you're playing a character, I can respect it.
Yeah, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't, but yeah, he's very chill, very cool.
It's actually
very
a surprise to
hospitable.
me. Because
Me too.
he plays the character on stream very authentically.
He
Like
does.
he does a good job at being like, oh, this is what this dude's really like.
But it's kind of like, how long can you do that for?
Yeah.
How long can you act? And I think he's getting to the point now where it's like, it's turning into a job of like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to turn this character on. I need the energy. And that's kind of what I saw. Like, it seemed like a little tiny bit of a struggle to like get started with the
Yeah.
stream. Because it's like a lot of prep. It's almost like going on stage in front of 100,000 people or whatever.
For 8 hours.
Yeah. You need that, like, and you're not stopping. You're not going to
No.
take a break.
Because people are going to call that shit out instant, where it's like sometimes you see
If they're
with
bored, you'll lose viewers. And
And
what you want is like viewers.
And I always see it with Theo Vaughn, where you'll see a clip really quick where people will be like, oh, like this person made him break. Because he's always playing a character too.
Yep.
When people, and like, so like, God forbid.
Oh, breaks character, yeah.
Yeah, God forbid Neon like isn't mentally prepped for that 8 hours. If he has like 30 seconds where he's like who he is in person, that's going to get clipped. And then people are going to be like, what the fuck?
But I think people want to see that.
100%.
Like, that's the thing. It's like, stop playing a character. Yeah, I get it. You're trying to like get the clips and go viral and stuff. But like I said, at a certain point, you have to be yourself. And I would rather watch him be himself, and because you're still a little bit of that character. Like,
Yeah.
a good reference is like my friend Steven, Daddy Steve.
Yeah. Oh my, he's hilarious. to
Online,
me.
he plays this like insanely awkward character.
Yep.
And before I met him, that's what I expected him to be like. He's actually exactly like that, but
Yeah, no, I would like because I met him at were you at Nick Schlegel's birthday party? It was at
Maybe.
No Vacancy.
yeah.
And I met like I've been in the same space at your parties as
Mm-hmm.
Steve before, but like never got into because I'm still in like in somewhat relatively can be intimidated phase sometimes. I'm like, oh, I see you guys and a lot of people shit that I fuck with, whatever. Like and now I'm seeing you out and about. And I saw him, and he was super. Not that I didn't think he would be chill, because even
Yeah.
like his character on videos is not chill. It's more just like goofy as fuck.
Yep.
And I met him. I was like, oh shit, like you're still goofy and funny,
But you're
just,
normal.
like, you're way normal.
Yeah.
So
But there's little things, because I got really close with him. He's one of my best friends now, where I'm like, dude, this is what I see on the internet.
yeah,
But he doesn't even try.
No.
It's like crazy. So
Which is kind of cool that like luckily that can just come naturally to him.
Yeah.
And I think that he has a good friendship in Jeff where they can naturally bring it out. Like there's no like, all right, Jeff, like come on, we got to get into this. Like what I just feel like they just like they could turn it on even if a camera was. They could just be in their character for fun if the video wasn't on, which I think is so special because there's so many people that like at a quick segue. That's why I talk about with like this podcast specifically where I would love a co-host at one point. But do you know who Shane Gillis is?
Yep.
So have you ever listened to Shane and Matt's Secret Podcast?
No.
So his best friend Matt McCusker is like another comedian, and they have a podcast together, and it fucking killed. And I didn't know who Shane Gillis was until his Netflix special came out, which is so sad because
I saw clips, but I saw that special, and it was really good.
I think he's
really
one of
good.
the funniest fucking people I've ever watched, honestly, because he reminds me of someone who's white trash from my home. He's from Middle Pennsylvania. I'm from upstate New York. Same shit. But he has a podcast with his very good friend, Matt McCusker, and I could listen to 20 hours of it straight because you are listening to two actual friends bullshit about stuff, and I've seen too many, and sometimes I've almost produced a couple of like 2 people, 3, however many people that are going into a podcast or going into content because it's a job, and like, oh, this is like
it's for money.
This is my coworker, and I'm like, this is not gonna like. So back to that point of Jeff and Steve, they're friends, they're actual friends. So I'm like, oh, their shit on, like they might get in a real ass argument on stream on their podcast. Yeah. Guess what? That's what real friends fucking do. Like, and I just don't like, sort of like, I don't know. I don't like, I get the whole point of you do it for, like, God forbid if someone was like, yo, Casey, like, we have a really good idea. He's super, super down, but like, do you want to do a podcast with Timothée Chalamet? Obviously, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'm going to, but so I can never like shame someone for being like going to get their money. Obviously, like, you do you. But it's just so easy to see through when it's like, bro, like it's so much better content natural, when you're genuine, you know?
And even like for going back to Steven, like on the barbershop, Jeff's barbershop.
Yep. Oh, he kills it.
I've never seen Steven film with Jeff ever. And last week they needed a videographer. So I was like helping him film, and like to see everything happen live and all these like awkward bits. It was really cool. Yeah. So like some of it was planned, some of it wasn't. And it was dope. Yeah. It was dope to see him in like in his natural habitat.
And I feel like that makes everyone else around it more comfortable too. Cause like to your point, what you do for a job, and ever since I've been here, like I feel it so much more where I'm like, I don't think people in the creator space or just like the actual celebrity space get like how you guys go about what you're doing affects us so much more than it would affect you. Like in terms of like, we're the ones that like have to create your stuff. We have to shoot it. So it's like if you're like knowingly like you're making things super awkward, that puts us in a hard spot for having to create your shit. Yeah. So just like if we could like, you know, I don't know, it's a tough sometimes, not tough because again, like I'm so fucking lucky to be where I'm at right now. But sometimes where it's just like if we have a content shoot and someone may come in like a really, really bad mood, I'm like, you realize that's hurting us more than it's hurting you being in this horrible mood, right? Like we're the ones that have to shoot you, get you in a good mood, and like get you to be ready to do it. And if you're projecting all this shit on us, this doesn't help anything. This is not going to work.
Yeah. Also, you're not like a babysitter. You're not also like a therapist.
For adults.
Yeah, and I've been through that so many times. Where it's like I'm almost begging the person to film. I'm like, I shouldn't even be doing this. I don't get paid enough. Yeah. You know
that part.
But yeah.
So what would like? Do you like? I'm guessing because of do you being where you're at right now? Do you miss any of the Sway House, like 2020, like being at that Bel Air house, just like all the crazy shit, like during that time?
Even living there, it didn't feel like real life.
Yeah.
We were living in like $15 million mansion. We had maids making us breakfast, making our bed.
Crazy.
I took it for granted, and I think everyone did for a while. And every day there was something happening. Like people were coming over. There was a podcast. There was an interview. There's fans at the front gate. It was really just like, it felt like a zoo of content in the best way possible. Like it was content heaven all the time.
Which is great, obviously, but it can get hectic.
It was like very hectic, but it was like one of the best times of my life. And I'm like very appreciative of Bryce moving me in. And like we had a great time filming YouTube videos. And there was just so much content to be made during that TikTok time. There was beef. Yeah. There was relationships. It was amazing.
little bitch, look at
Yep.
real ass. Just absolutely fucking iconic. And like, I was at that point, I was a consumer until I fucking probably sent like 1,700 DMs to Warren.
Yeah.
Until Warren was just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Okay, like fuck it, like come do something for us. Like I don't care.
And that was for Annie.
And that was for Annie,
Okay.
and then that's when, because I knew that like, okay, because when I saw Bryce and Josh specifically, like I've gotten to meet Blake and like all the other dudes and stuff like cool, like great. But Bryce and Josh, I was like, okay, you were two people that I value being from the Northeast very heavily, just in terms of like how people are there.
Yeah.
And I looked at Bryce and Josh and I was like, if I were to pick you up and put you in the Northeast, you would fit in. Like 100%,
Oh, really?
100%. And I mean, Josh is technically from there anyways. Like I know Canada, but regardless, he's still from the Northeast.
Same vibe.
And honestly, Bryce is from Maryland, so same shit. So I guess not they're from there, but just like in general, New York. I was like, if I picked you up and put you back in New York is very judgmental. They're gonna fuck on you if you're like whatever. And like those two specifically, I was like, oh yeah, now you could like fit in. So I fuck with you guys a lot. So I wanted to do something with them. And then I knew like, okay, you guys got 20 million followers apiece. Like you were not seeing my DM, even if I tag you in a video, like whatever. And I was like, oh, Warren, your guys' manager at the time, like he's got 30,000 followers. Like he might be able to see the DM. Sent a lot of DMs to that man until
Really?
until
Like over what time period?
probably from the TikTok YouTube fight in Miami. That was the end part, and probably 4 or 5 months before then, because I just started like making parody Annie commercials and just like a ton of shit. And then Warren was like, hey, like we can't pay your way down here. We're not going to be able, but like, you know, we'll pay you hourly for the time you work for us. But if you come down to Miami, like we'll let you work with like Annie for the fight, and like you'll get into the fight, all this type of shit. Like you should.
Oh,
but,
really?
Like,
For the TikTok when Bryce was fighting Austin?
when Bryce was fighting Austin.
Really?
Yeah. And he was like, we can't pay for whatever. And mind you, I was poor as all fuck. Like your typical, I think I had maybe $1,200 total savings, check, everything. And Emma and one of my best friends, Scott, and my mom were all just like, you need to go. Like, you should go.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be worth it.
And
Just,
you felt that need of like, you
oh,
have
I
to go.
wanted to go, but I was just like, it's that, you know, is it worth it? Which is always just like gonna be the thief of everything. Cause like, it just makes you overthink whatever. But then I ended up being like, fuck it, I'm gonna go down. The entire trip costed, because Warren also was like, oh, all the creators are staying in the Hard Rock Miami. You should stay at this hotel too if you want to get like connected and like you know, networking people. By that time I was like 5 days out. The cheapest hotel room was I think $600 a night.
Wow.
And just staying for 2 nights. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna do it. Like, let's do it. So go down. The second night I was there, I put $50 into a slot and won $1,900. So
What?
trip was paid for. Thank
There's
God.
no way.
Like literally, I was like, okay, this is fate. But like being down, which was like a nice plus. But being down there, like I got to get a like better relationship before moving out to LA with Bryce. I got to meet. That's what like, and even outside of work stuff, like really good friends with Markel, and that's where I met him for the first time there. And that
Well,
kinda
before all
started-
that, like what were your thoughts going into this? Like, were you really nervous? Were you like, I don't really care, I just want to meet them really bad, or like?
So and I know this will sound cocky in a way, but like I'll say confident in a way where I've always thought, and it happened with who I work for now, where I was like, if I can just have 10 minutes with somebody, 10 minutes, like I had, in my opinion, I have like fun personality. I get down with whatever. Like I got that white trash. I'm not going to judge you fucking energy. Like we're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just always thought like, oh, like people will fuck with me if like I can get 10 minutes with you. Like, and I don't mean fuck with me as in they're like, yo, like you're on it, but just like enough where they're like, oh, like I'll keep you in mind type thing. So I was like, if I can just be around these guys for, 10 minutes collectively, it doesn't have to be at one time. I know that fucking mic
Just keeps moving
I
down.
know, I feel
It's all good.
fucking bad. And I was like, if I could just, so I went down there, and it was like every time I would have a chance to have a quick convo with Bryce, I would. Every time I would have a quick chance to have a quick convo with whoever I would, so I could at least like have some rapport
And you
with
said,
people.
hey, I'm with the Annie team, or
Yeah.
that's how you pitched it.
That's how I pitched it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm down here with Annie, and like, cause Bryce luckily had interacted with a couple of my TikToks before Miami, so he knew my face in a way, and so when I first saw him in Miami, he's like, oh shit, like you're down here, and then I was like, yeah, I'm here with do you know Michael Senser? Do you remember him? Yeah. So I was down with Michael and Warren, and that was kind of like my in of like, oh no, I'm not just some weirdo here. Like I'm with them. I'm here to work. Like I'm not here for any shit. And I don't want to shit on her. There was this girl who was actually
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep, was running social media for Annie Energy stuff, and she fucked her chance up by being way too much of like a fangirl and just like way too overzealous about everything.
Well, their issue is that they literally hired a super fan.
Like an actual
Like,
super fan.
the
And don't get me wrong, I am not ego. Of course, like before I went off to that, of course I was a fan. Like I would absolutely be lying if I was like I didn't watch their stuff and enjoy it. Like I'm sorry to people who don't think that's what a fan is. That's what a fan. If you're watching someone shit and enjoying it, what are you? I'm a viewer. You're a fan.
Yeah.
Like 100%. So obviously, like I was a fan of stuff, but also like and I know this would be goofy, but I'm gonna bring up Kanye West really quick. Bear with me.
You are basically Kanye.
I'm basically calling myself Kanye, but I've always resonated 100% with. I think it was. I forget what song from Watch the Throne, but Kanye had this lyric where he's said, "Act like you've been around motherfuckers like this before," and that lyric over everything he's ever said has stuck with me forever. Where I'm just like, act like you fucking been here, act like you're supposed to be here, act like you've been around these people, not in terms of like ego, but just like if you act a certain way, then people are gonna be like, hey, we're not bringing him around again.
Right.
Like, and growing up with the type of people I've grown, like I was like. Grew up, like don't get me wrong, it was upstate New York, but grew up like criminal, just like shit. So it was like I knew how to act around certain people and like be cool with shit.
100%.
And
you can adapt very easy.
100%. And being down there, I was like, okay, cool. Like they're just people. Like they're cool people that I feel like I would fuck with. I'm gonna treat them as in like, oh, we're on the same college campus, and I feel like I would fuck with them. So just like, yo, what's up? Whatever. TikTok, YouTube fight, and go back home. Trip of a lifetime. So worth it. Warren messages me maybe like 2 weeks later, he's like, yo, I want you to run Annie Energy social media. I was like, fuck yeah, like that's awesome. And then I was able to do it from back home in New York because at that time there wasn't so much strategy as much of just like make Annie content, repost Annie content, great. And then he was like, yo, like it would be really worthwhile if you moved out to LA. Like you'd be able to be around people, you'd be able to meet. You should do it. Like I'm not telling you have to, but you should do it. And I was like, okay, I'll give it some thought. Great. I was very reluctant to it until one time Emma was just like, and mind you, she was working at Starbucks when we came out here, but she was just like, we should move out to LA. I don't want to be in our hometown anymore.
Yeah.
Like we should just move.
It was time to go.
Doesn't care. Like let's just do it. 2 weeks later, without even signing the lease, we just left. We drove our car from New York to here, and I credit Warren and Brianna 100% because Brianna was the first person to message me and be like, because she was on Annie obviously too, but she was with Josh. But she's like, hey, like I want to start bringing you around and like doing stuff in person. And the first one was when we did the Annie PR. We went around to a ton of different. I think that's the day that I met you at Haven. No, that was down the line. I think that was down the line. But
I feel like I met you pretty early on. I don't remember.
And you were another person though that like I credit to like that cool energy where like, because don't get me wrong, like where you were at, even at that point, you absolutely could have had a big head if you wanted to. Be who you were around all the time, the job you had, the shit you had to. You absolutely could have been like, "Yo, what's up, dude?" Like you.
What?
But you because there are people do that shit, and like you were in a place where people with less than you have like big ups me before, and I'm like, okay, like whatever, cool, like great. But when I first met you, super chill, like actually had a conversation, and then just like luckily enough, I got to create like that actual relationship with you, where I was like, oh shit, like that's like I'm lucky for that, because like not only are like, because you were at a point where I was like, oh shit, like given I don't really want to be I have way too much ADHD and problems to be able to sit down and edit a video, but I was like, oh, I want to be able to fucking do it, like kind of like the type of shit you do, because like you did so much cool shit. And at that time, I was like, fuck, he's actually taking time out of his day to like chill, talk, be a real fucking human. So like I was so grateful for that. So thank you.
Of course, and I feel like that should be like default. Unfortunately, it's not.
It's not here.
But I don't like talking to people and they like try to like one up me or anything like that, because like, fuck you, you know, like
100%.
There's gonna be a point where they're not gonna be able to do that anymore. And I met a lot of people that like are douches, and then where are they now? They moved back home.
Yeah.
Like you have to be nice to people. And not that I was like trying to be nice to you.
No, but
I just feel like that's who I've been, and I'm not going to change my personality because of who I'm working with. Like,
And I was like,
because that's not me. Like,
to be very blunt, I was floored by it. Like, I remember going home and telling Emma, I was like, yo, like, JR's actually, like, chill. Like, not that I didn't, because like, you have no, like, in a good way, you do not have a presence about you where, like, you're unless you want to be very into, like, you were out, like, you had a presence where I'm like, oh, he looks super chill, looks like you could go talk to him, all this type of shit. And then that's what it was. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like, shout out to you.
Shout out.
Honestly. But then with Brianna, again, I credit her to so much shit because, like, she's the first person that brought me around Josh. And then that led to making a relationship with Josh and Gavin. Gavin, you should come back to L.A.
He moved?
Yeah, he's back in Toronto. Because his girlfriend lived out there anyways. And, like, there was visa shit, whatever. But he's back in L.A. Or back in Toronto. But to help make me, or to let me have a relationship with them, too. And then that's just what, like, helped everything. So, and I hate people that don't like yeah, I got here on my own. It's like, don't get me wrong, I worked hard, but like everything comes from like you met the right person who was cool and like was able to, like, that brought you on, that put you on.
You gotta credit people. Yeah,
people put, like, no one gets, God forbid, other than like fucking Thomas Edison. No.
About what? The light bulb?
Yeah.
He actually stole that idea.
What's his first name?
Else. Thomas.
It is Thomas Edison.
Yeah.
Why does that sound so?
Thomas Edison.
No, I don't know why Thomas just did that. But, like, God forbid, like, yeah, okay, fucking you create electricity by yourself, great. Like, you stole the idea. But, like, everything, like, in today's world, I'm like, somebody put you on to something. Yeah. So it's like, I hate people that, like, don't acknowledge that ever. I'm like, that's making people, like, that want to be in a position, like, think that, like, that they have to do it all on their own. They're, like, you know.
And even before meeting, like, Bryce and Josh and everyone, this guy named Seth introduced me to, like, this whole social media thing. Like, even when I dropped out of college and I was back home in San Francisco, I was making, like, short films for him and stuff. And then he's like, yo, my friend needs a videographer. Like, come move out here, blah, blah, blah. He knew he was going to put me on, quote unquote, which compared to, like, who I worked with after that didn't really put me on, but he did. Yeah. He was, like, the first step to the next level. So, like, I thank him all the time still. I'm like, thank you, bro, because without him, I would not be here.
Yeah. Every birthday of Brianna's, that's in the birthday text. There's that.
Yeah.
It's like, and thank you for being who the fuck you were.
And it goes a long way, you know, when you thank someone. It really, like, makes them feel good.
Yeah. I mean, I even think the people who I work for now did not have to answer my DM, did not have to bring me on. Like, I showed up to my interview with shorts and a t-shirt. It's like, yo, like, fucking stained piece of paper with a resume on it. Yeah. And I was like, yo, and they were like, Mark always said I was a personality hire.
Yeah.
And I was fine with that. I'm cool with that.
What does that mean?
That it was not, like, my skill related.
Okay.
It just,
but
like,
it had to be a little bit.
It probably was a little bit because, like, it's not like I was incompetent going in there, but it was definitely more of just, like, the conversation I had with them. It was more of, like, that, like, oh, I really fuck with you.
So it seems like you and Mark are pretty close.
I'd say so. Yeah. In terms of, like, not, like, you know, me and him aren't. I'm down, Mark, but, like, we're not out here going to get dinner and stuff. Okay. But it's just, like, we definitely at this point have, like, a nice, like, he actually told me today, like, more that he's just like, oh, like, I want you to play, like, you can be my sidekick in, like, videos and stuff like that. And I was like, but I'm fucking down with it. Just make it apparent.
Yeah,
like, it makes it easier on me when
you don't want to go out of your way and do it because it seems weird.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's why I told him, I was like, when you make a blanket statement like that, that makes me so much more comfortable. Yeah. Like, knowing that, like, that came out of your mouth, you were like, do this. So, but no, it's cool because, like, being able to, again, I'm really close to my family, so being able to work with another family from the East Coast gives me that feeling of, like, home shit. Now, don't get me wrong, like that's why I love doing stuff on my own, because I would love to, like, how do I put this the right way without sounding, I would love to create alongside them. I would love for this to get to be something someday where I can be like, yo, like I'm still doing this under you guys, but, like, it's helping everything out. Where it's like in, like,
you're not gonna call me daddy where you just dip and
no, I really, like, I'm really not, like, a greedy person. Where it's like, God forbid if this ever got to happen, I would still come in this. This is where I would shoot it. I mean, maybe make it a little bigger, but just, like, I would come in this office. It'd be fun. Everyone eats. Like, as long as I get to, if my job got to be fucking sitting and talking to people and traveling,
yeah,
I literally would not ask for anything more ever in my life. So I'm manifesting that. That's
gonna happen.
Yeah. I think we can get it. So before we end off, because I've taken enough of your time.
You're good. I'm having a good time.
Oh, see, that makes me. I hope you'll be a reoccurring guest.
I hope so too.
At some point. What do like? And I know this is such a fucking interviewee, fucking college type question. What do you see? Like, what does JROD want? Let's say, I can't give you. I don't want to give 2 years, 5 years. Like, what would you like to see in the future for yourself? Because you've done a lot of fucking shit. You have a lot of skills. You have a cool ass contacts. Like, what like?
So, actually, what I'm working on right now, I've been throwing parties over the last like year or so,
Cool.
and I'm like, what can I do with this and like the network that I've brought and that I have. So I'm currently working with a team and with developers, and we are making an app and a platform that I can't talk too much about because it's pretty early, but it's in that field of like events, and I hope that this will be my next venture alongside creating content and still doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big part of my life, and I can tell you off camera, but yeah, it's going to be big, and I'm excited, and yeah.
Well, knowing what you've done, I don't have any doubt that it's going to be awesome, and I'm excited to hear it off camera 100%. And not just knowing you is going to be fucking lit. And no, honestly, I can't wait to. I don't know. It puts a smile on my face because everything you've done so far has been so fucking cool.
Oh,
so
thank you.
I know this one will be, but regardless, I appreciate you taking some time out of your night to come and chill.
I had a great time. This was fun.
He's gonna be back.
I'll be back.
He's 100% gonna be back. But until then, like I end up every single episode, fucking peace.
Peace. Subscribe.